All right, so today is January 12th, 2023. Um, Doing a quick recap on today, how I traded it, and also, I'll just literally go through my trades, but more importantly, how I traded it, because I think today was actually a really good day for me. Um, More so because of how I traded it, not because of the PNL or anything like that. The many days I actually have good PNLs, but I never trade it well. I never trade it right. But I went into today with a different mindset, um, and I would say that that mindset helped me trade a bit better. However, there are definitely some improvements I could make, um, but yeah, we can. We can certainly, everyone can always make improvements on how things are going. All right, so let me adjust this chart first of all, because I realize that whenever the market is has closed, this um, this particular indicator, well, not indicator, but this particular, whatever you want to call it, tends to do things wrongly. So if you noticed, this whole box was all over the entire screen when I actually wanted it to just be here, and it corrects itself in during the day session. But essentially, this is the Globex session, and this is the day session. Typically, what I do it more so when I think we're going to have a range day. I mark the Globex high and the Globex low, essentially the overnight range. As you can see, we had very. I essentially thought somebody said something about the CPI numbers being leaked or something, and then you now had this very strong bull rally. And as you can see, let's actually just adjust this. As you can see, it's a very strong move coming very late in a bull trend that started round about here. So, oh, by the way, this is a 6,000 tick chart, and I'll explain why I'm looking at 6,000 tick in a second. Well, actually, I'll explain now because the Globex session is well compressed, and you can actually see the session relative to the day as it should be. When you're looking at a, I think this is a 5 minute, and as you can see, it's very little volume, and then all of a sudden you have this mess over here. When you're using the tick chart, everything that happened in that small volume area is over here, and you can see very, very decent patterns. All right, so you have a very strong move up here, coming late in a trend. So that tends to attract profit taken, and you tend to have a reversal. This area, and we're going to use the daily chart for this. All right, so that area, as you can see, is this area. This is my measured move target. So this was the range, this sideways range we went over for like the last 2 weeks. We broke out, tested it, first leg, second leg, possibly third. And as you can see, this is where the CPI resistance is. Um, Now, as to whether it's not a 50% pullback, because this is a 50% pullback here. But anyway, yeah, you could argue this is a 50% pullback if you want to. However, it was pretty much this area. So that kind of made sense that would find resistance over there. All right, so we sold off strongly down to this support area. This is the previous day's low over here. This is the Globex area. So this is like the spike pullback, and then you have a channel. So as long as we hold this level, we're still in a bull trend. Anyway, so we have a situation where this is the low of the range now, right? So we've gone up this way, we've come down really strongly, testing this low, holding it, but it's strong enough to cause more sellers to jump in when we test it. We have another wedge top here, 1 pullback, 2 pullback, 3. So two-legged move, 1 pullback, 2, but 3 pushes. So you have a double top over here. Whenever you have a double top like this, it's a trading range. So price is going to try and come back and test this area. So we have a first push down, second push down. You could almost argue there's a third push in here, but that was just too small, and then we had a final push testing this low. All right, so this is where the day opened, right? So I'm going to open up a 5-minute chart just to actually, you know what? Let me just go over it this way. So the day opened, just obviously price having a double top will try and come and test this area. I'm gonna talk about why we stop in these areas. Obviously, there's support over here. Um, anyway, we now have a wedge bottom, and then you have a first leg up, testing a breakout point. Actually, this high of day here, pull down, testing this breakout area. This price is quite important. Pulling back for the second leg, testing this area, coming back down, testing. This is an area of congestion. This is the breakout area, so this is an area that will act as support, because this was support here. Was initially resistance, but now come to support. Essentially what's happened is you have a trading range forming here, a pullback, holding 50%, and then breaking out above the top of the range. So you have a wedge here, 1, 2, 3, breaking above the wedge, going for a measured move, the size of this range all the way up here. So in fact, let's actually measure it all the way up to here, right? Yeah, there we go. We go to the measured move target there. Almost got to the measured move target just there. But anyway, going up towards the measured move target, a wedge top, and a nice drop, obviously testing the breakout point, pulling back, a double top, possibly major trend reversal. I mean, the market is still obviously testing this low, so it is a broad channel. And in my books, I think this is a 50% pullback, not even going lower, instead possibly going higher. So might break this high, and holding 50% might mean we might go out, for the next leg up in the trend. Okay, so how did I trade it? I think what I did there was I tried to explain what happened. These were my entries and my exits. All right, so as I said, the first thing I did was, because I know we had a double top here, and this is the first low, I know price is going to try and get down here, right? A very important area is the midway point. This is the first point. We've tested that. We pull back, and of course we try to get up here, but there's a gap, so chances are we're going to break that low and go lower, because that gap wasn't filled. So we go lower and we test this price, we pull back, we form a wedge. Now instead of going up, we go down. So we make a measured move from all the way up here down here. As this is coming down, I know there are buyers over here. Remember, this was yesterday's low. And we start to wedge. 3 pushes down, 1, 2, 3. So I buy above this bar, and that is this. That's my entry here. My stop initially was actually below here, because we have the Globex low, but I just put my stop here just in case I need to buy more. So I only bought one contract. First trade of the day. The bars are so big. I mean, you could have sold here, but it's just I didn't want to use such a wide stop with very little information. For all you know, you could have a very big, massive bull bar, and then this area as well happens to be. Let me see if I can do this. I think there's a way you can do this with Windows where you can share this. Oh, I don't know how to do it. There was a way I could do it where I could have one. Someone will tell me how. Anyway, so yeah, this area here is this wedge. So it didn't make sense for me to go short here. Yeah, we have a very strong bear bar, but it's at the moving average. We have a wedge forming over here. We might reverse and hold 50%, probably go up for a bull trend. So did not want to sell here as a result of that. Actually, that's actually good. I should talk about the reasons why I want to actually take some trades. So I didn't want to sell because of that. Got a massive leg down. This is also a good sell. But again, it's a big down, big up. And what I mean by that is let's fix that. So selling here, I have to be aware of the fact that, remember, there's Globex low here. This requires a huge stop. Yeah, there's a high probability we're going lower. But this is so many points that I can't remember how many points it is, but it's like, yeah, 37 points. I just think it's too much, not so much too much to risk. I just don't want a situation where this happens, then I've got to sell again and wait for how many hours before to be in such a deep drawdown. Let's say that happened, and then wait till it gets down here. So that would have been an hour and 20 minutes. And there's all this happening. Meanwhile, you're on a short and you're looking for bear bars to sell. Just didn't make sense to sell. And then also, like I said, it's a trading range. This is the bottom of the range. This is the Globex low. You want to be buying in this area, not selling. Yes, I did mark in my chart that I would buy. You could buy here if you're a bear, or you could sell here. But I think I'm going to actually take it off because I don't think this is a good sell. All right, so this is the low, testing this low. I'm looking for an entry. This is a wedge, 1, 2, and then 3. Hard to see on this chart, but then better to see on this chart because you can see it 1, 2, 3. So this is a really good entry over here. So I took this long, had a very wide stop. I got out here, just here, and I think it was more so because one, I had 10 points, but also this level here, this acted as support, tried to act as support, and now it's becoming resistance. So I thought we probably will pull back for a bit, maybe come back here to this area that we formed this wedge and try and go higher, but we have a gap. When we break out, I saw this gap and I thought I could, excuse me, I could buy this, but this is just 2 pushes up, so I didn't want to buy it. As a result of that, we went higher. Again, that gap wasn't closed, and because that gap wasn't closed, I think it also meant that this was probably going to happen, or there was a high chance this was going to happen. Anyway, so we have a second leg move here, but this is one leg in itself. So what did I do? So we're now stalling at the highs. So let me pull back the 5-minute chart. So we're stalling at the highs, and I'm still trying to decide whether I want to go short or not. So we have such strong bull bars, we reverse the entire move. It is definitely a trading range if anything, but I also know that this could happen. We could go sideways, pull back 50% and go higher. All right, so I go short here. Now, why did I go short here? Again, do you know what I'm going to do? Let's just make this easier. Let's just pull this here like this, and then pull this like this. All right, so, and then we'll do this so that way you can see both charts. All right, so I go short here on this bar because, you know, this is a wedge top, some very small micro wedge top. Didn't really like the signal bar, so I hesitated, and this is where I went short. When I saw this bar was already growing, I thought I'm going to take this short. I went down a bit, it pulled back, and I thought, okay, this is another strong bull bar, but then came down lower high, so I thought, okay, we're going lower. Then I looked on the 5-minute chart, and I noticed that on the 5-minute, we had a very bad sell signal. So I didn't think this was a good sell. As a result of that, I got out really quick on this bar over here. So then what happened? Then we started to go down, and I think I had a bit of FOMO. And then when this was coming down, I sold here, and then I got out really quick because I thought, hang on, this does not make sense. I'm selling at the moving average. At the time, this was a very strong bear bar, so that was bad FOMO. So I got out really quickly over there, and I thought that's not a good sell. Forget about it. Let's move on and wait for another one. Then we had this move, broke this high, and the thing what kind of made me think of selling again, right, or why I decided to go for another sell was the fact that whilst we're breaking, I essentially thought, okay, are we going to go up so quickly? Because that's really tight. But we already have a lot of selling here. Whilst this is a breakout, this is a sell here. Like, this is a very big, this is a lot of selling already. Therefore, the next leg up will most likely be sold because of how much selling has happened over here. And then again, this is so tight, you're going to have a very, very minor reversal. So this I was interested in. We had a sell signal. I then now took, once we started to come down, I took a short here. My initial idea was to get out below this bar, but I just thought, I'm not really sure about this sell. So I got out for 5 points, around about 5 points. Didn't actually get up to 5 points, but so if I took it there, it was about 4.7 or so. Again, oh, and then, oh, no. What am I saying? I sold here, I added here, and then I got out for about 10 points. That's right. Yeah. So I got out for 10 points on both contracts over here. Now, why did I get out here? Because it looked like a wedge. 1, 2, and 3. And I thought we've already broken that low. We've closed this gap. We're testing this breakout area. This is probably a great place to exit. And as a result of that, as you can see, we pull back. And then we had a final leg. And this was now the wedge. Oh, when we pulled back, I did take another sell here. Now, why did I do that? Because I think, oh yes, because I saw a wedge. One push, second push, third. So I took it below this bar. And I should have targeted this. That was the thing. I should have targeted this, but I also looked at the 5 minute again. I thought we're so low in the range, we're close to the moving average. Probably not a good idea. I added to my sell here and got out over here. All right, so what else did I do? All right, so, and then we had the second leg move. Um, so every move in the market has two legs. So you have this very strong leg, you get an impulse back to the moving average, and then you get a second leg up. So it's something to always kind of note. Excuse me. Oh my god, I'm burping. But yeah, whenever you get a very strong move like that, and you start to go sideways like that, just count the legs, get 3 legs. This is actually a good buy here, stop down here to catch this move. Alright, so this is what I call a second leg trap. At least this whole move itself is a second leg trap. It looks so convincing that we're going to break out, but look at where it's headed to resistance. I kind of got in a bit too early, and I got in a bit late. I mean, the first reversal tends to be minor, but sometimes you get a very strong drop. Let me see if I can find examples of traps that I'm just kind of looking at my. Yeah, here we go. This is a good example. So here we've got, again, first leg pullback, second leg, and it's usually very, very, very convincing that we're going higher. And then you get a bear bar, and you get a big collapse, right? And then it usually tests a breakout point. So you get this one, nice test. It didn't actually mark this here, but you can see where it's tested, and then it's kind of carries on. So we had the same thing here, a nice collapse, and then testing this breakout point. All right, so which is over here. I got out around slightly above. I don't know. I got out way too early. I think I just when I see big bars in a trading range, I tend to just take my profits as quickly as possible. I also noticed that we had gone down like about 14 or 15 points at the time, so I just thought, okay, this is actually a good profit, And then I must admit, at this point, I was staring at my P&L. Okay, so I missed this move because I had to rush my daughter to the emergency room. She's fine, but she had some reaction, some allergic reaction to some stuff. So this would have been a good move. However, I don't know if I would have caught it, to be honest. Seeing this, possibly as I look at the chart now, I don't know if I would have bought this. So I don't know if I would have traded this, even though this is the entry here. It's just maybe because I don't know. I'm just not sure if I would have caught it. But anyway, so you had this really lovely move. I caught it when I saw when we were over here. I wasn't really sure. I was like, do I buy? Do I sell? I'm not really sure. But then it just, like I said, second leg trap. So I was looking for a sell. Saw this bear bar, and then this came down here. Where was this? Where did I catch it? Yeah, I caught it here. And I remember when I sold, I kept saying to myself, this is the first reversal. It's going to be minor. So this is probably not a good sell. And then we started to form this wedge. We had 3 pushes. So this is 1, 2, 3. And then we didn't collapse here. Not a really good signal bar. And I started getting a bit worried. I mean, I had a really wide stop. My stop was about 30 points high. And I really considered adding to my shorts. I added here, which was not really a great add. It should have added above, but this was a stupid add. And what I mean by that was there was no thought to it. I was like, okay, double top, add here. So I was in with 4 contracts at this point. I added one more here, so I had 2 here, added here for some stupid reason, which was a mistake. But I was confident in the trade. Then this started to happen. Then I said, okay, fine, this is minor. I could take a 1 pullback, 2. This was another one. So I added here. So I was in with 4 contracts here. Obviously, I had to bring my stop lower. Then we now had a third leg up. And I thought, oh, this is now a wedge top. Not really good. So it's going to have a trading range here. Then we went up. Started peaking the 2-minute chart. And I thought this is probably not doing what I want. This bar could probably brace up, and we could carry on higher, maybe just for a little leg up. So I wasn't sweating my pants. I was very, very calm, and I think that was the first thing that helped me with this trade, just being calm. Because just trust the price action, knowing that you have such big down. This is a second leg trap. It will probably come down and test this point. Therefore, yeah. So at this point, I think I was in with what, 6 contracts. So that's way too much. I'm putting my stop down here. It's just way too much. So I took some off just because I just didn't want a situation where we reversed at this low if it was a trading range. And I'm in with so many contracts. So I had to take some off here. Um, and then just wrote the rest down, took some off here, had one more, and then just got out everything over here. I really wanted to get out a bit more there, but things were moving. This happened so quickly. As you can see over here, this happened really quickly. And I just thought, oh gosh, we could get a massive reversal, so let me just take the profits and walk away. And that was literally my day. Now, what's really interesting here is this reversal. I remember saying to a few colleagues, I was like, we're going to test this. We're probably going to come back to this high over here, or possibly this breakout point here, and test that. We actually went past it, which is interesting, and that's something I need to know. I call this a minor reversal, and the reason why I'm saying that is it's essentially the same as this move over here, where you get a wedge top, then you get a minor reversal, and then you get a test of the high, and then you get a major reversal. So I think this is a major reversal. Um, but it's, the day is closed and everything. So you had a wedge bottom here, failed, which is one of the signs that you are in a major trend reversal. The wedges fail, and then you have another wedge bottom here. The only thing I would say is, though, is that I normally in a major trend reversal, this is a much stronger leg down. So that kind of tells me that there is a chance we could probably go higher, because this reversal did not, we didn't even take this low out. If I would say one thing about trading ranges and what kind of keeps you what can kind of help you with confidence in a trading range, as I said, is gaps close. The only gap I would say that is still open is this low to this high here. So I think that would suggest that we'll probably go higher, because we didn't go down, we went up instead. But I mean, this is the range itself. But generally, what tends to happen is you would expect this to come all the way down to this breakout point and then head back up. And that didn't happen. So if you look at back to this example over here, you can see we had a very strong, strong breakout here, pullback, small pullback bull trend here. But look, ultimately the gap closed before we went back up. So usually you expect the gaps to close, and that is a very good way to plan. I'm trying to find a way to get this out. That's a good way to plan and strategize your trades, because you know that, okay, we have open gaps and we're probably in a trading range, so all these gaps will be closed. So say for instance, now you see this gap here between here and here that closed on these bars. So you can scalp those points. All the gaps are closing, and then this created a huge gap between high and this low, and that was closed here. So you can always plan trades around that. It's definitely something that really does help. And when they close, they go test out breakout points. So you find that when they close, they come back here to whoever sold here, because they know that the market is going to keep doing that. So imagine if you sold this low, you can sell here and you get out here, and that causes the price to reverse. So this is a good buy as a result. You just kind of look at this area and you're like, oh, great buy. It's really the foundation to why supply and demand trading works, because you could argue this is a demand zone, right? And therefore you would buy above this zone. And really what you're doing is you're betting on those bears who sold here to essentially take profits. But that only works in a trading range, in a ranging market. It doesn't work very well in a trending market where you have gaps open, or body gaps and things like that. Like you had over here, for instance. Now you have a body gap here, so between this high and this low, and in fact none of the bodies overlapped this high. The same thing happened over here, and that was also the clue that we were going higher. You can see the body gap between this high, no bodies overlapped these. And I think the way that works is based on the fact that, if you use a line chart, institutions use line charts. You don't really see gaps on line charts, do you? But you, actually you do. Yeah, you can see the gaps. So look at that high. Ultimately, the lines are so big, but there is a gap between this low and this high. Even though, yeah, you could argue and say, oh, it does touch, but I think it's because the line is thick. but the actual line itself does not actually touch. Did you get a gap here? No, this is closed. But those gaps cause price to go higher. So if you have a gap between this low and this high, instead of having a move down, you're going to get a move up. As to why that happens, I can't tell you. I watched a video about it, but I obviously didn't pay attention. All right, so what's my outlook for how things are going to happen moving forward? Well, basically, if we look at what am I gonna just take this off? If we look at um, us going forward, we already have a big drop. So we have a lot of selling here, right? Just like we had a bit of selling here, we broke out, and then we had a bit here, we broke out. Now we have a lot of selling. So that tells me that as we go higher, we're gonna start getting a lot, like our pullbacks are getting deeper. This is a lot deeper than this. So if we do go higher, I think we may get a massive climax possibly, or if not, we will go sideways, test this low again, close that gap, and then possibly come back up, maybe test this high, and then we have a little small reversal. But as you can see, this is taking out this, so that gap is closed. So that's how I'm going to look at the price action as we go on. Looking at, like I said, on the daily chart, it looks like this is a major trend reversal, so it looks like a higher low major trend reversal, although I did expect us to have stronger bull bars to take out this high, possibly testing this level and definitely this level. Then we'll see what happens from there, whether we go back down and go to the 3500s. Where was this? That is, yeah 3500 or even lower. All right, so that's my recap for today, and yeah, I look forward to getting some feedback from you guys.